things finally settled down. We bought a little trailer outside a sleepy town. I learned her name was Veronica. It only took a couple months. We even laughed about those mob guys and all my crazy stunts. No debts, no shady meetings, just easy living plain. I thought my wild days were washed away by the rain. The Caddy sat so pretty, quiet and clean. The quietest year I've ever had, a simple, peaceful scene. Then the telephone rings, breaks the peaceful sound. Veronica picks it up and her face falls to the ground. She says, pack the bags, honey, we gotta make tracks. A death in the family, there's no turning backs. I said, wait, where we going? My heart began a race. She pointed down the map, right back to that crazy place. I'm driving the Cadillac with a grip that's tight and white. We're going back to Sin City in the dead of the night. We go again. Veronica looks worried, dressed up in black lace. She says the funeral's in Vegas, that dusty, wicked place. We gotta be discreet, honey, keep your head low. I said discreet, they know my mug from that high roller show. I pulled the Caddy out the tire, spun and smoked. The thought of that casino had me completely choked. I checked the rearview mirror for any following cars, going back to Vegas under those unlucky stars. I look at her and say, now wasn't your name Betty when we met? She just smiles, rolls her eyes, says, don't you think that joke's played out yet? Pack the bags, honey, we gotta make tracks. A death in the family, there's no turning backs. I said, wait, where we going? My heart began to race. She pointed down the map, right back to that crazy place. I'm driving the Cadillac with a grip that's tight and white. We're going back to Sin City in the dead of the night. I kept telling myself it's just a funeral, quick and clean. But deep in that city, the past is always keen. My foot is on the floor, the speedometer's high. I know we're getting close as the neon lights brighten up the sky. Pack the bags, honey, we gotta make tracks. A death in the family, there's no turning backs. I said, wait, where we going? My heart began a race. She pointed down the map, right back to that crazy place. I'm driving the Cadillac with a grip that's tight and white. We're going back to Sin City in the dead of the night. Yeah, we're back in the den of sin. Oh yeah. parked the Caddy, put on a nervous stride, walked into the church with nowhere left to hide. The room was packed and quiet, all dressed in black. I saw old gangster faces from way in the back. Silver Sam was crying, the accountant looked weak. Every single bad guy that made me afraid to speak. I whispered to Veronica, "Honey, this feels so wrong." She squeezed my hand tight and just kept marching along. We walked toward the coffin. I could barely move my feet. The air went out of my lungs, almost ran back out to the street. I looked at the dear departed, laid out still and calm. It was the boss himself, safe from all harm. Veronica took my arm, said, "Joey, don't you fear, he's my Uncle Frankie. We'll be safe here." I turned white as the lilies, my whole world started to spin. She said, "Nobody talks business, but I loved him for his grin." We went to take a seat near a big flower bouquet. My brain kept screaming, "Why didn't you tell me yesterday?" She whispered it was tough, you were running scared. I mumbled back, "Tough," I almost disappeared. Just as I sat down, feeling confused and weak, a rough hand clamped down, I didn't need to speak. I turned and saw Knuckles, his face was hard as stone. He leaned in close to whisper in a chill and quiet tone. Knuckles gave a smile that didn't reach his eyes, a mean, slow greeting through tears, that's a surprise. I looked at the dear departed, laid out still and calm. It was the boss himself, safe from all harm. Veronica took my arm, said, "Joey, don't you fear, he's my Uncle Frankie. We'll be safe here." I turned white as the lilies, my whole world started to spin. Knuckles just pulled me tight and said, "Welcome back, friend." Kept staring at her face, we sure are a mess. I tried to provide comfort, but I'm uncomfortable, I confess. I paid my debt to her uncle, now he's gone and dead, and his toughest man is watching the back of my head. Knuckles let go slowly and then walked down the aisle, leaving me sweating bullets and faking a small smile. "That's my cousin Tommy," she said with a grin. "I met the whole damn family in the city of sin." motel suite, my mind full of confusion and rage. I paced across the carpet like a tiger in a cage. Your Uncle Frankie, the boss I ran from in the night. I shouted at Veronica, withholding that information isn't right. She sighed, I was scared, Joe, I didn't want to tell. But he was just family, he raised me oh well. We threw some angry words, then things got slow and quiet. A year of good behavior was ended in a riot. We looked at one another, then held each other near. I said, I'm sorry, Betty, and she whispered, I'm sorry, dear. I need a drink right now, I need it fast and cold. I need something strong, baby, something bold. I haven't touched the booze since I left this wicked place, but now I need a tall glass to wipe the shock right off my face. She said, be careful, Joey, remember what happened before. I just laughed and told her, yeah, I married you, and walked out the door. The elevator dropped me down to the smoky casino floor. The music started playing, I wanted one thing more. I sat down at the bar, that familiar velvet seat. The smell of bourbon and cigars, so bitter and so sweet. The bartender looked over, he had the same tired grin. He knew me from the old days where all my troubles begin. He walked right up and said, what'll it be, my friend? I said, pour me something strong, let the good times start again. I looked at the whiskey, clear and golden bright. Hopefully this is the dumbest thing I do tonight. I need a drink right now, I need it fast and cold. I need something strong, baby, something bold. I haven't touched the booze since I left this wicked place, but now I need a tall glass to wipe the shock right off my face. He said, be careful, sir, remember what you did it before. I just laughed, said, if I get too bad, kick my ass right out the door. Watch the ice clink softly, sliding down the glass, telling myself this moment will pass. Just one small drink, no big deal, I know my limit well. But Sin City has a way of ringing that trouble bell. I raised the glass slowly, took a heavy, deep, slow sip, feeling the burn go down right past my smiling lip. The rage is now gone, but there's a fear in my heart. I said, hell, I quit drinking, but it's a good time to start. The next day, suited up, we went to read the will. Sat in a lawyer's room, feeling tense and still. Veronica was teary, I was scared to say a word, afraid of any mention of the debt I once owed. And the lawyer named the successor, it was Tom. Veronica's cousin has been named the new Don. I'm just trying to make it through the next nervous hour, as Tommy takes the chair and assumes all the power. The lawyer clears his throat. Then he starts to read the sum. My new wife gets some money, my time has finally come. $50,000 all for my wife to plan a real wedding, and enough to change our life. And then I heard the line that made my brain freeze. Joe is now welcome to the family with ease. I looked around the room, full of fake smiles, nobody could miss. I whispered, honey, what exactly is this family business? Yeah. Tommy, the new boss, he pulls me to the side. His face is still the same, but there's nowhere left to hide. He says, my dad, Frankie, he knew about the whole mess. He knew you married Ronnie in that cheap white dress. He leaned in close and whispered, eyes cold and full of dread, that poker game wasn't luck, it's why you ain't dead. He said it was his gift, the chance to keep your neck clean. He loved his niece Joey, if you know what I mean. Slapped me on the shoulder, it felt like a ton of bricks. My life was saved by love, man, that's a real Vegas trick. $50,000 all for my wife to plan a real wedding, and enough to change our life. And then I heard the line that made my whole brain freeze. Joe is now welcome to the family with ease. I looked around the room, full of fake smiles, nobody could miss. I whispered, honey, what exactly is this family business? I'm part of the family without signing a form. My quiet life is over, I'm heading into the storm. Tommy shook my hand, gave me a friendly wink. Get ready, Joey, I'm taking you for a bachelor drink. A bachelor party for a man who's been married for a year. Veronica gave my arm a squeeze and said, no worries, dear. Tommy just smiled wide, let's celebrate, Cousin Joe. This party will be a night that you won't live down, you know. The sun went down on Vegas and the fun began to climb. Tommy, yeah, I mean Knuckles, said, Joey, it's party time. Me and the boys rolled out, looking sharp and feeling our best. He stuffed a thick bankroll right there in my vest. He said, it's your last night, Joe, go have yourself a ball. But remember the wedding, you gotta stand up tall. We hit the big casino, the lights began to glow, and I told myself, easy Joe, take it nice and slow. I put a chip on the black and the dice started to fly. The drinks were tasting better than they had in a year gone by. The luck started flowing, the whiskey burned so bright. Say hello to Handsome Joe, the king of the night. I forgot all the warnings, I forgot my brain. My cool head was gone. Tomorrow I'm gonna feel the pain. The chips kept piling up, the night went on and on. Last night on the loose, running wild till the dawn. I was shouting at the dealer, buying drinks for the crowd. I was betting 20 times what a smart man is allowed. I saw Knuckles watching, he looked amused and had a laugh. But I just laughed right back, knowing if I screw up, he's gonna rip me in half. I hit the jackpot bell, I made a giant haul. Every single rule I had, I let it break and fall. I was screaming at the ceiling, I was singing out loud, lost in the happy chaos of this insane crowd. The luck started flowing, so bright. Say hello to Handsome Joe, the king of the night. I forgot all the warnings, I forgot my brain. My cool head was gone. Tomorrow I'm gonna feel the pain. The chips kept piling up, the night went on and on. Last night on the loose, running wild till the dawn. Crowd, I ran right out the back door, escaping the neon glare into the street, nearly naked, just my fancy underwear. Everything went dark, a beautiful black screen, the biggest party ever, the wildest you've ever seen. The memory is gone like a whisper in the heat. I hope I wake up tomorrow with shoes on my feet. If I screw this up, Handsome Joe might be dead, because tomorrow afternoon I am supposed to be wed again. Clock never sounded, just the clang of metal doors. Woke up on a hard bunk on the city jail's dirty floors. My head was pounding loudly, my mouth was dry and cracked. Then I noticed what I wasn't wearing, my clothes were not intact. A cop yelled out my number, said I was found on the strip, just my fancy undies and a bottle to my lip. I shouted, oh no, no, the wedding is today. Stuck in a drunk tank, wasting the morning away. I thought about Knuckles and his scary kind. I thought if I ruined this, I could lose more than my mind. I'm running out of time, this is the final hour. I'm messed up the party, used up all my power. The thought of Veronica knowing just fills me up with dread. She can't find out her groom is locked up instead. My future's on the line, hungover and fresh scars, singing the drunk tank blues in a cell made of bars. I sat there for what felt like 10 long quiet years, until a mean guard called my name, calming all my fears. It was 12 o'clock sharp, my freedom was at hand, and standing in the desk was the scariest man in the land. Tommy, yeah, I mean Knuckles, he just shook his head and laughed. He threw the bail money down, not looking even half mad. He said, you made a scene, Joe, you were a sight to see, running down the highway wearing just your dignity. He clapped me on the shoulder, now the handcuffs were gone. He said, welcome to the family, kid, you truly belong. I'm running out of time, this is the final hour. I messed up the party, used up all my power. The thought of Veronica knowing just fills me up with dread. She can't find out her groom is locked up instead. My future's on the line, hungover and fresh scars, singing the drunk tank blues in a cell made of bars. Gave me a bag, said we gotta move it quick. You sure know how to party, kid, that was a crazy trick. He drove the Caddy fast, we changed shirts at a light. Just gotta get down the aisle and make this thing look right. Got 5 minutes to change, gotta fix my dirty face. Hope Veronica smiles when she sees me in my place. I'm running to the altar, shaking, sweating and ill, from the drunk tank to the altar. One hell of a thrill.
The church was big and fancy, flowers everywhere. The music started playing, filling up the air. I stood there by the altar, still sweating out the gin. My tux was looking clean, but my heart was saying amen. The bride's side was packed tight, all the family gathered round. The groom's side was empty, not a single sound. I knew it was silly to feel so weak and small, 'cause we did this once already. Now we're having a ball. But this time felt different. This was real love, not a scare. I wanted her to have this, a beautiful dream to share. She's never looked so beautiful as when she walked down that aisle. A tear came to my eye, and I couldn't hide my smile. She looked like an angel in that white dress of lace. This was the real one in this wild and crazy place. I promised to keep her happy, to love her true and whole. I lost my way in Vegas, but she saved my very soul. The service went so fast, not a single break or fall. We kissed and we were married again, once and for all. I looked at Knuckles nodding. He was standing at my side. He winked and said, "Welcome, groom. Take care of your bride." We got back to the room. The party was the next stop. I took off my new tux and grabbed my old jacket off the top. I slipped my hands inside to find a little bit of cash, but what I felt inside that pocket made my heart beat fast. She's never looked so beautiful as when she walked down that aisle. A tear came to my eye and I couldn't hide my smile. She looked like an angel in that white dress of lace. This was the real one in this wild and crazy place. I promised to keep her happy, to love her true and whole. I lost my way in Vegas, but she saved my very soul. I pulled out a chip, then another, then a massive stack. They were giant casino chips from when last night went black. A quick count in my hand, my jaw just hit the floor. I won $1 million, but I don't remember what for. $1 million in my pocket, I grabbed Veronica's face. I kissed my new wife deeply, right in that holy place. I shouted, "Honey, we're rich. Let's get out of this place." The wedding bells are ringing, and there's a smile on my face.
The honeymoon was set, the $1 million
$100 was real, I bought Veronica a diamond sealing the deal. I swore right then and there, standing by the caddy door, no more whiskey, no more trouble, I won't lose control no more. Veronica put a sign up, just married, big and loud. We drove out of Sin City, past the smiling crowd. She looked at me softly, said, Joe, before we go, my whole life is back here, can we come back, you know? I looked at the desert where my chaos first began, but I looked at her smile and conceived a brand new plan. We're leaving this city now, we're heading for the coast, going on a honeymoon, the one I love the most. Knuckles may be dangerous, he's running the whole scene, but I saw his good heart and his love for my queen. The welcome to the family was real and it was kind. We'll come back to Vegas, leaving the bad times behind. Set in neon, but first a tropical sun. My marriage to a gangster's niece has truly begun. I know her cousin Tommy, he can be scary and tough, but he saved my stupid neck, and that is love enough. He didn't ask me for a favor, no dark deal on the slate. He welcomed me to the fold, sealed by a beautiful fate. We're driving past the strip now to see what we can see, but soon we'll move to Vegas, living close to the family. I looked at the desert where my chaos first began, but I looked at her smile and conceived a brand new plan. We're leaving this city now, we're heading for the coast, going on a honeymoon, the one I love the most. Knuckles may be dangerous, he's running the whole scene, but I saw his good heart and his love for my queen. The welcome to the family was real and it was kind. We'll come back to Vegas, leaving the bad times behind. My gambling days are done, my drinking vows are set. I got $1 million and I haven't screwed up yet. We'll have our fun away from here before we settle doom, then come back to Sin City, back to this crazy town. Beneath the sign,